What makes a good controller? The feel of the buttons, the sticks, a powerful rumble, RGB? How about a throwback to a nostalgic controller from your childhood? If you think any of these things makes a good controller, then let's talk about the QRD Stellar V5. Based on the classic design of the Nintendo Gamecube controller, these fancy styled JoyCon certainly present a wow factor at first glance. I mean, look at this. The RGB, which you can change its glow pattern and color, is so striking. I don't think I've ever sat and just looked at my controller before. It's mesmerizing. And cosmetically, it's very familiar to the Gamecube, like I mentioned. It does take a few liberties though. Like the previously reviewed T5, the buttons have a distinct mouse-clicky feel, although I would say the V5 feels a bit more mushy by comparison. I think this is mainly due to the size and shape of the buttons. It's not really a bad thing though, just gives it a unique feel. The triggers are clicky and responsive, as well as the D-pad. But those joysticks, I mentioned how I like buttery smooth sticks in the last review, and this one certainly has them. So buttery. I will say they provide two variations of the ring around the joysticks, one that's notched like a typical GameCube controller and one that's round. I found the round ones to feel a bit better. A few extra features the controller does offer are a turbo function like the T5 and built-in gyro functionality. And as I mentioned previously, these are Joy-Cons. They pop on your console for epic handheld gameplay, or you can pop them off and use them more like a traditional controller. Now most importantly, how does it play? I wanted to give this controller some playtime with games that I felt would benefit from the GameCube feel. I purchased the remake of Metroid Prime specifically for this video, and I've been kinda sitting on it anyways. Playing through some of the game testing out this controller, I actually was having a blast. While you can use the R trigger like a typical shooter, I was finding myself using the massive A button to shoot in quick succession. I also cycled through the RGB effects to get a Metroid Prime sort of feel. This actually added to my experience, sort of making it feel like an extension of the game. Don't underestimate the power of RGB, and you can quote me on that. I was finding myself enjoying using this controller in just about every aspect. The only real downside I had in my experience was with the X and Y buttons. It may be due to the unique shape of them, I just found them to be a little bit on the mushier side. Playing Metroid, I didn't really notice it as much, as you only use those buttons for certain applications, but when playing Smash Bros, I used the Y button to jump, and the feeling did wear on me a little bit. It wasn't a huge deal, certainly playable, but it was noticeable. One you could probably get used to. I think it's just a contrast with the actual GameCube controller that the buttons feel a bit clickier. I've been playing through Wind Waker on stream on my actual GameCube, so this is giving me some pretty direct comparison. I am one who actually hunts for a Nintendo GameCube controller alternative on Switch, and I've used a few different variants, and I gotta say, this one feels pretty good overall. It does a great job of capturing the GameCube feel while giving us some modern amenities. Even adding some other touches like rubberized grips and some programmable back buttons if that's your thing. And yes, it fixes that annoying Joy-Con wobble you have in handheld mode. I honestly don't think you can go wrong if you pick one of these up, and especially if you want a GameCube feel on your Switch. If you happen to not want the GameCube feel, go take a look at the T5 review I did. Maybe that's a bit more your style without compromising on any of the features. Well, that's all I have for you. Be sure to drop a like in this video and check out the description down below for a link to the controller, and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, have a good one.
Jiggylookback!